Yeah, it gave everybody hope. And it wasn't even hope. We knew they could do it.
Howdy, everyone. Welcome into a depressing TexAgs Rewind presented by Specs. Carson Stein is in the Rollo Insurance Studio. I'm outside of the Rollo Insurance Studio. David's on the road, had to split. I'll actually be guest hosting tomorrow, and then a few other fellas later on in the week. But Carson in the Rollo Insurance Studio at the Angry Elephant News and Social Center on the TexAgs Rewind presented by Specs. What's up, dog?
What's up, Nick? How are you feeling?
I'm already bored with this conversation. Who's your favorite guest on the program today?
Tom Hart. 100% Tom Hart.
Nice. Well, I like Ryan Brauninger. I like JB Moss. And I like Billy Liucci. He was on the show as well, along with Tom Hart. Here it is. Check it out.
Bronny, I want you to put into perspective how close this College World Series was, like how thin the margins were, because same number of runs, same number of hits. It was so close.
Yeah, I just think you look at the number one and number two teams in the country, and they were, I thought, clear cut. Arkansas had a shout there at times, but I just didn't think Arkansas offensively was on the same level as A&M or Tennessee. And Tennessee came in with the crazy home run numbers. The Aggies were better on the mound in terms of their ERA. But yeah, I mean the margins were crazy fine whenever you were trying to look through and prognosticate on what might happen in the series, and it played out that way. Again, it just came down to Tennessee made one more play. They got one more hit than A&M was able to muster, and that's why. And look, you got to start talking about that Tennessee team as one of the best in college baseball history. They win the SEC East, they win the regular season, they win the SEC tournament, and then they win the national championship. They stockpiled as many trophies as you can possibly get in a season in the toughest league in America. That was a pretty special all-time team that A&M just lost to by one run.
Talking to Ryan Brauninger here on TexAgs Radio. Bronny, who is somebody, and there's several candidates here, so I'll give you some time, but some people who grew up during this postseason run. Obviously, Caden Kent comes to mind if you want to go into depth on him, but who are some others that you think really kind of came of age this postseason run?
Well, yeah, Caden Kent, he wrote his name right in the center of Aggie lore with what he did, not just in the Super Regional, but in the College World Series as well. You think about guys taking off, it's Caden Sorrell, like that's a massive one, right? Gavin Grahovic's I don't think you ever saw like his stock rise, because he was you buy stock at the beginning of the year and it's as high as it was at the end of the year. And, but yeah, like Sorrell, Kent, I thought it was good to see Jack Bell get into the game. He had the bad air and his team picked him up, probably made him feel like a real part of what was going on around him. And
yeah, the answer is it's incredibly individualized. And a lot of it is up to the coaching staff, to be honest with you. Guys that are banged up and guys that, had 200, 250 at bats, they're not going to race those guys to get out the door and head to summer ball. But the guys that they feel like really need to get experience, that didn't play a whole lot, that didn't get as many at bats, they're going to get those guys out pretty quick. I remember being at A&M and they would kind of give you a week to get your feet under you, and then they'd ship you off to summer ball because they wanted you to get better. But guys like Jace and Gavin who have USA invites, that's a whole different animal, and they're going to have to assess where those guys are at physically. But it's incredibly individualized. The guys that played a lot, the guys that are banged up, you may see those guys hanging around College Station and trying to get healthy. But the super young guys like the Jack Bells that they have a lot of hope for, those guys need to go play. They got to develop, because they spent a large majority of the season not getting real game reps. So those guys got to get out there and get better.
JB, last thing for you. Make us believe why this is not just the one time to the College World Series final, like why this is going to be a mainstay for this program moving forward, knocking on the door and also eventually breaking through and winning it.
Well, I tell you, the first thing I would tell you was to go look at Jim Schlossnagle and No One Can's resume, because those resumes are not going to tell you that this is one and done. We have incredible leadership at A&M right now. And I understood why Richard asked the question last night. It's very important for us to keep the coaching talent intact that we have in Aggie Land. I truly believe that. I think they've done an incredible job getting talent to campus. And I think also, we talk about it all year, Nuno. I think it's one thing to get it to campus. It's another thing to develop it. I think Mike Early has done a fantastic job developing these guys. Coach Weiner, I mean, what an incredible job. A complete overhaul in production on the pitching mound. And I think we have an incredible staff. I think with the new stadium, I think the brightest days of Texas A&M baseball are ahead. And I think everybody just needs to continue to love on these players and continue to support them emotionally, financially, because I think this is just the beginning of what a true powerhouse Texas A&M baseball program can look like.
Part of the thing that made this run with A&M so special is the personalities on this team. And you got to know some of them and interviewed them. You know, not only Schloss and his personality, but Braden Montgomery, Hayden Schott, Jace Lavalette, some really good dudes that I think nationally were well received as well.
Well, I think it's a very mature group, and it's a grown up group, even the young guys. And what I mean by that is if you're Jace Laviolette or you're Braden Montgomery, you've been on big stages. I mean, Braden had played in Omaha a couple of times, so regular season games. Like, come on, man! Like, I've done this. I know what it's like to be in the bright lights. And the transfers who maybe didn't have the SEC experience, but they had the experience of being a great teammate and knowing what a difference a great locker room makes. And the leadership on that team with Schloss and Max and Nolan. Those are guys that know what winning teams look like. Nolan Cain's won a national championship as a player. He knows what it looks like and what you need it to be. And so I think all of that goes together to allow for a team personality, because you have the maturity of guys that know it's not just about me, it's about everybody in here. I thought Pep, maybe Hayden Schott was the best example of that. I know there's people that know the team better than I do, but the ability to go out and perform and to have personality and keep guys loose and to keep the stress level down is irreplaceable. And I think every elite team has a guy like that on it, you know, and who knows who that is, right? The Patriots had Gronk or Edelman, and you could man pick a championship team. Everybody has one of those guys. The Red Sox were kind of, when they busted the slump, they were kind of lovable clowns. They had a bunch of dudes that kept everything loose. And I think think about how long that baseball season is. They start playing in February, and they just finished yesterday. That's an unbelievable grind.
Yeah, it gave everybody hope. And it wasn't even hope. We knew they could do it. And even in losing, we still know they could do it. And you play that game again, you play that team 10 times, you play that team without Braden Montgomery, Shane Sadeo, you factor them into the mix. I mean, this team faced some, just devastating injuries, not just devastating injuries, but in terms of the timing of it as well. It wasn't just like, man, they had an injury, they had to regroup, and they had back-to-back injuries in a super freaking regional to their number 2 pitcher and a top 5 player in college baseball. I mean, most teams fold in that instance. Maybe they get by Oregon. Oh, by the way, they were way down in both games, but way down in game 2. Maybe they get to Omaha. Maybe they win a game or two and you're really proud of them and you wonder what might have been. But this team showed they could beat the best team in the country. They did beat them once, and they were damn close to beating them not one other time, but 2 other times. I mean, let's not forget they were 7 away from a World Series championship and double dipping the balls. Like, they stood toe to toe with Tennessee on every level. We saw the end of series statistics. I was around a ton of Vol fans this week, and have nothing but great things to say. And I know somebody could text in and tell me about their experience. It was unsavory, and there's, these Tennessee fans were awful to me or my friends or I get it. We all have them. Look no further than the Florida game in game 1 on the A&M side. We all have them, but I'm just telling you, I was here a week, more than a week, 9 days, and ton of Aggies, ton of Tennessee fans, and this was the most fun college sports party.
Alrighty, Carson, you know the drill. Tell the people what to do.
Like, subscribe, comment, share. Just keep doing that over and over
say
again.
it like you actually want to be
like,
here.
comment, subscribe, and share. Do it now.